guys. I hope you can hear me well because we're just getting started. And let me know if everything's working. You can write something in the chat. Okay, perfect. I see someone has already joined. Welcome, guys. So today we're gonna take it slowly and hopefully learn something new. So make yourself comfortable, get some snacks, and don't hesitate to ask any questions, practically because it's gonna take a while and we're gonna be solving a lot of chess puzzles. Today's class is aimed at improving your pattern recognition, specifically related to Rook's checkmating abilities. And as you can see on the board, we have a small board like just to my right. I hope it's the right side. And in this board, you see the pattern and you can recognize it as the back rank checkmate. When the black king has no windows, nothing, no squares to escape to, you can checkmate with the rook on the back rank. And knowing that, you can solve a lot of puzzles and find some beautiful combinations in your games, which we're going to be doing together today. So let's get started. Hi guys. So on the position on the board, you see it's white to move and it has to be pretty simple for you. But we're going to start with some warm-ups and then trust me, the positions are going to get more complicated. But the pattern will remain the same. The back rank checkmate. So I'm gonna wait for someone to write the solution down. I know this one is pretty easy, but I want to see how you think, your thought process, and maybe you can ask some questions. I want to remind you guys that today is an experimental stream. We're gonna learn something, we're gonna discuss the thought process when we solve positions, when we find moves and plans in our games. So make sure to leave your feedback because today we're running a vertical short stream instead of doing it horizontal, and I want to hear your thoughts on it because I made a poll like a couple of streams ago and a lot of people, like 80% of viewers, voted for the vertical streams. So here we go, but let me know if you prefer the other way around. Yes, perfect. So I see a lot of solutions written already, and the first one is pretty easy. It's queen d8, check, and after rook takes, checkmate. And we go back to the same pattern you see in a small board on the right. So that's how it is. The second position is quite simple too, using the same pattern. Once again, we're just warming up here, guys. White to move. As I said, make yourself comfortable. It's gonna take some time, but we're gonna improve your calculating and pattern recognition skills. Okay, correct. Yes, you can sacrifice the queen for the rook, distracting or deflecting the rook from the back rank, and then check, and then we see the exact same position that we see on the right. Perfect. So this is it, and then we practically intensify what we already learned. In this case, you can checkmate using the same pattern, but it will take a little bit more, a couple more moves. So what do you do here, guys? Those like free puzzles are so typical for Puzzle Rush on chess.com, and if you do it very often, you'll be like, okay, I see those patterns. I can recognize them already. That's how it works. But what do you do here, guys? Yes, okay, that was the solution to the previous puzzle. Good job. What about this one? I know there is a little delay between me saying and you writing, so we're just gonna take our time. And if you just joined, just make yourself comfortable, get some snacks, and learn some new patterns and thought process skills. Okay, good job. What about this one? Okay, I don't see any solutions, but I'm sure they'll be there. So just wait a little bit longer before I show you what to do. All right, and what do you do after that? What do you do after the queen sacrifice? Okay, yes. Practically the same thing. We go queen f7, distracting the rook from the back rank, and now we go rook c8. And luckily they don't have enough defense to block it. So we have rook c takes f8, and that's checkmate. Actually, you can take with the second rook as well. It wouldn't make any difference. And now let's intensify the puzzle solutions. We're gonna have some more intense puzzles that are based on the same pattern, back rank checkmate. And this is my personal favorite, black to move. You can use the idea on the right. If you see the small diagram to my right, you can use this pattern to checkmate again. So how do you do it? This is my favorite. I love this position, and I want to see if someone could solve it as well. Take your time and don't hesitate to be active, to ask questions. I'm reading the comments. And today we're learning something together, improving pattern recognition, calculating skills, as well as seeing how grandmasters think. Because from now on, the first three examples were just puzzles, but from now on, the rest of the puzzles are taken from real games played by grandmasters. So they're very impressive. Okay, you're pretty good. You're pretty good. I see one move that is correct here, and this is queen to c2. Good job. Very impressive and very quick. So why would someone play queen c2, which looks like you're killing yourself because you sacrifice your queen and two pieces can take you. But let's take a look back. We see the king has no windows and there are two defenders of the back rank, the queen and the rook. And you have just two attackers, so you can't place your rook there, you're gonna be taken. But if you distract one of the pieces, whether it's the queen or the rook, you will be able to checkmate. And by playing queen c2, one of them gets distracted, right? So if the queen takes you, you're gonna checkmate. And if the queen doesn't take you, if the queen decides to, run away, queen g1, you could still take the rook and then you checkmate, because once again, you eliminated one of the defenders. Pretty good, incredible job, you found it. And now let's go to the next puzzle. Once again, black to move. The white king has no window, but there is the queen that defends the back rank. What do you do about it? I see a lot of people joined. Welcome, make yourself comfortable, and let's learn something together. Okay, let's wait for someone to see what to do here. How to checkmate using the pattern that we're learning today. This is a real game example, as every other example will be. So let's see. Let me know, guys. If that's too hard, just let me know. Yes, you can create the battery, but you can't do it right away. If you play queen d7, firstly, there is the bishop that could take you. And secondly, even if the bishop couldn't take you, they would have enough time to unravel, to protect the back rank, and possibly to make a window. Today we're discussing possessions when you kind of force your opponent to get checkmated or to lose something. So either way, you force them to react. You don't make some quiet moves. You force them to do something. Okay guys, yeah, I see a lot of you joined, but if you read the solutions to the previous puzzles that we already passed, I'm not gonna reply. You can re-watch it and see the solution. But now we're focusing on this puzzle where this queen protects this square and somehow it needs to be distracted. How? How to distract this not little queen. What do you mean by sacking the bishop? Do you mean bishop f3? But then I think they could take with the pawn, right? If they take with the pawn, the king has an escape square. Bishop a4, okay, but what are you gonna do if the queen takes you? It got a little bit further away from d1, but it still controls it. What do you do next? Okay, actually, if you play bishop d5, you block your rook and you lose the opportunity to checkmate this way later on. So it is bishop a4, guys. Bishop a4 was correct, but after queen takes a4, you have another move, another way to play queen to b5. And this is a beautiful move because you have two ideas in mind. The first one is you kind of trying to distract the queen, and if it takes you, you can checkmate like we want to do using our pattern, back rank checkmate with the rook. But if it doesn't take you, if it goes back, still controlling d1, you can do queen f1 checkmate. And this is just beautiful, correct. Distraction and checkmate. Absolutely right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this puzzle because it took a little bit longer. As you can see, this is not a one move checkmate, but knowing this pattern helps you come up with the ideas to make it possible, to make it come true to the life. Okay, what about this one, guys? White to move. White to move. And the same idea, you want to checkmate on the back rank. Of course, if you can do it with the queen, that would be great, but we use the same pattern, checkmating with the rook, and if you just join, you can see the pattern to my right on a small board. Using that helps you come up with some beautiful ideas. Correct. Good job. I see the right move. Queen takes d6. So as you can see, two pieces were defending the rook, and now it's time to distract both of them, because when you take knight, you get rid of one of the pieces and the queen cannot take you back because you checkmate. And I mean, you just gained a piece, right? So congratulations. So yeah. Here it's queen to d6. If you're talking about one of the previous puzzles, you can rewind it on the, I think, playtime. Just go back a little bit. And if you're watching it after the stream is over, I'm going to add some time slots so that you can just see the puzzles and solutions to it. So good job. That was quick. And this one is actually very beautiful because white to move, it looks so unexpected that you can checkmate by using the back rank checkmate pattern, right? It looks like you can do that. That's just a normal video game position and you can find something else to do. But in fact, you can checkmate. In fact, this is so beautiful that you either gain something or you checkmate. And how can you do it here, guys? Okay, but queen c5 has a very right idea in mind. You're trying to distract this queen, but if it takes you, and a lot of people miss it, the queen will be protecting f8. It has access to f8, and that means that after the rook takes you, they could just block. And you just lost your opportunity to checkmate. And I see the right move in the chat. Good job. The right move is queen to a7. This way you still distract the queen without letting it go to f8. So now if the queen takes you, you can see that you checkmate like we discussed. But what if the queen doesn't take you? What if it goes to c8? What do you think? What can you do now? I mean, there are a couple of good options though. There are a couple of good options. Yes, correct. Queen to b8. And this way, you just gain some material because the queen cannot take you back because of the same pattern we are discussing here, guys. Absolutely great. Absolutely right. Okay, what about this position, which also looks a little bit tricky? Black to move, and once again I see a lot of people joined. We're learning to recognize the chess patterns in some positions that we play, like middle game positions, practically most of the time middle game positions, yes. So black to move. Okay, queen e3 looks good, but you don't really force anything, right? After queen a3, they don't have to take you. They could just run away and you're not forcing anything. Same works for queen a2. That looks nice. That looks absolutely nice. But once again, you're not forcing anything. The rook can just escape. If you take on c1, once again, nothing happens. There is something that you can do which will lead to gaining some material. Rook c1 is not checkmate, right? So you have to do something to make it possible to checkmate in this position. If you play queen a1, that looks nice. Like, I mean, that's a puzzle, so you want to sacrifice. But in fact, if you play queen a1, they could just take you back. And because you don't have any backup, you just lost your queen. So it doesn't work. Correct. So the only move you can do is rook to c8, and I mean, of course, when you solve puzzles, you expect something more forcing, but this is forcing, in fact, because now you put enough pressure on the rook on c1, and of course, if they take your rook, you can just go, oh, okay, that was a misclick. Often happens in our games, and then you lose. So you can take on a1, check, and if they block, I mean, that's a checkmate. If they try to run away, now your idea to take on a1 works because now you have the backup to sacrifice the queen and to checkmate using the idea of the exact same pattern. So good job, guys. You actually nailed it. What can you say about this position? I remember seeing it as a kid and I absolutely loved it because I don't know, I never saw this idea before. I mean, before I saw this puzzle as a kid, and I was like, wow, I want to use it in my game. So yeah, it's black to move, and I already see the right solution, guys, and we're going here very quickly. So impressive, guys. You're so good. Okay, so the right move is queen to b2. As you can see, this is such a beautiful square that we have here. So by doing so, you put enough pressure on the rook on a1, and I mean, there is nothing you can do. It is stuck. They can't defend the rook anymore, and if they take your queen, you just checkmate. This is so beautiful, honestly, guys. Let me know, do you like this idea? Did you know this before? Because I find it fascinating. Okay, and guys, let me know. I see rook a8 as the solution in the chat. Can you tell me why it doesn't work? Anyone? Why is rook a8 not correct in this case? In the previous puzzle, we doubled our rooks, but here it's not working. Why not? Yes, correct. You see, after rook a8, the queen can take it, and the rook defends the queen through your rook. It's a check, and in fact now you're the one who gets back rank checkmated, which is a bit oopsies because you were gonna checkmate yourself. So you have to be careful, guys. This idea of recognizing back rank checkmate pattern works for both sides. It's not only on your side, it's also, not only you who can attack your opponent. Sometimes your opponent can attack you, and you have to be extremely careful because you don't want to get checkmated this way. Okay. Alright, I see a lot of moves, guys. Good job. So, next one, white to move. This is once again a very typical situation in our middle game practice. So, what do you do here? It's okay, guys, I'm glad you're suggesting your moves, because sometimes when we play our games, we don't understand why one move is correct and another one is wrong. So here we are gathered together to discuss it, to learn, and to improve. Alright, I already see a couple of correct moves, and I see a lot of people join, so let's wait a little bit more. Maybe someone else could solve it. Alright, this is a nice move indeed. Okay, so we have the correct move, queen takes d7. And once again, as in the previous puzzle, we create this cube where we put pressure on the rook, and if our queen gets taken, we checkmate using the back rank. I see another move suggested, queen e4, and that looks nice, but the knight is protected, the rook is protected well enough, so if they just defend from the back rank checkmate, it's not gonna work, unfortunately. So yes, queen d7 was correct, and guys, you're doing incredible. Honestly, great job. So, next one, black to move. You're actually so good at recognizing patterns already. I'm very impressed. Okay, see one move. Anyone else has any thoughts? Hey, why did you delete the move? Okay, guys. So, knight takes c3, knight takes c3. Alright, but what are you gonna do if the rook takes you back? What are you gonna do here? Alright. Thank you for writing the entire line. I really feel impressed because a lot of people just write one move. Okay, rook takes c3. Rook takes c3. What do you do here? Okay. Levon, sorry to mispronounce your name. Levon, I see your move. I know a lot of people will get it wrong. So here we go. Yes, a lot of people write queen b1, guys. And what are you gonna do after queen blocks? What are you gonna do? Rook d1. Okay, guys, tell me, what are you missing by playing rook d1? What are you missing here? There's something you're not seeing. Yes. Here you get back rank checkmated, and this is such a huge problem for a lot of chess players. Guys, you're so focused on looking for your checkmating ideas that you forget that your opponent doesn't have a window as well, and you're the one who gets checkmated this way. And this is very, very sad. So yes, please don't be overconfident. Always take a look at your king as well, because in many cases you can be the one who gets checkmated, because Rook d1 is not a move that is forcing, so it's not a check. They have their right to make a move, and it's a checkmate. So as you can see, guys, there was another solution written in the chat. There is just one person who wrote it. Please do not repeat yourself. I told you you were right. What do you do, guys? What does the rest of you do in this position? If it's not queen b1, because you're gonna be the one who's losing after trying to checkmate, what move do you have? Okay, yes, correct. So here, no, we discussed queen b1 is not correct. The right move is queen b2. With the same idea, you both making a double attack, and you are distracting the queen from the d1 square. And if they take you, you checkmate. And if they don't take you, you're gonna take the rook on c3 for free. So even if they do this, you just take, and then you go rook d1, checkmate. So congratulations, you nailed it, but a lot of you fell into the trap. Queen b1 was wrong, even though it looked right. And this is why it's important to look at the entire board to see that your king also doesn't have any escape square. And you have to be extremely careful doing anything in this position. Okay. Alright, white move. Here we have a beautiful position, and I bet a lot of people wouldn't find the solution if that was a real game situation. Trust me, especially if that was blitz or rapid. In classics, it's still possible to find what to do. And this game is Capablanca's. This position is taken from Capablanca's game. So take your time. Do not write just one move. Try to write at least 3-4 moves in this position, because I mean, this is very beautiful. And once again, we use the pattern of the back rank checkmate, and here the only thing that is existing is the fact that the pawn is not on h6. So this is it, guys. So you have to get to this back rank checkmate idea. You have to get to that position by creating the situation. Oh, okay, what does your racing live on? You solve puzzles very quickly. Okay, but if you play knight e7, the queen is gonna take you, right? You just lose it. What happens if you take queen e5, guys? I don't see it. How is it helping? The rook is still on f8, and there is nothing else that's happening. Okay, if you're asking my elo, I'm a WFM. So it's around 2300s online. Okay, so what are you gonna do? You give this check, knight h6, the king goes to h8. And what's now? What do you do right now? Okay, I see some good ideas. And I see, okay guys, I see some people say take queen e5, others say knight takes f7. What do you think? Which one is right and why? Because when you play a real game, you have to calculate both, to be honest. You have to calculate both knight f7 and queen takes e5, and only one of them is correct. Another one is wrong, and queen g7 is definitely not a solution here. We have to admit it. Okay. I see a lot of people writing the right move, guys. Good job. The queen is being attacked, that's true. But when we have something by force, it's okay. So either way, guys, knight f7 is wrong. And there is one simple explanation for that. First of all, it's not a back rank checkmate because the queen could take you and the rook is still on f8. And second of all, if you take back queen e5, queen takes f2, and we get some flashbacks to the previous position where you were the one who got back rank checkmated, like you do in this position. So you have to be very careful, and yes, knight f7 doesn't work. Of course, if after knight f7 the rook took, then the queen takes, it could work. But once again, the queen will take you. And this is why the first move is queen takes e5. Correct, guys? So this way, you are distracting his queen first. If they don't take you, you just got a free bishop. So no one can complain about that. I mean, white can't complain about that. So if the queen takes, then knight f7. The same idea. And after the rook goes to f7, oh, again misclick. So rook d8, check, and mate, because they can really block it very well. So good job, guys. Good job. Okay, this is also one of very famous ideas for strong chess players, and for, I would say, club players, this is something that doesn't really come to mind very quickly. But let's see if you can find it. Black to move. Good job! Let me know your rating. You seem to have seen a lot of chess possessions. You must be good, like definitely above 2000 elo. Okay. Who wrote queen e4? You're just losing the queen. Okay, guys, because we're looking at the board from black's perspective, I think you mean 3, not 6. But yes, let's wait for a couple of more people to realize that. Good job. Pretty good. Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying it, because a lot of people thought about it, but no one mentioned. Queen e1 is not checkmating simply because they could block with the queen. And trust me, a lot of players miss it, especially when they are low on time. They think, oh, I'm checkmating, but the queen blocks you and the rook protects the queen. So yeah, it doesn't work. What do you do instead? Okay. Yes, I hope you realize it didn't work. Correct, yes. I think a lot of people already realized it. So we want to checkmate on the back rank, but there is one piece that stops us from checkmating. I mean, the queen is also stopping us, but we are talking about the rook now. And if we can distract the rook, maybe we can checkmate. And maybe we can use the fact that our queen is on the same diagonal with an unprotected rook. And here goes rook a3, and while once again it looks like suicide because 3 pieces can take your rook, but none of the moves is working. So if the queen takes it, then you can do what you wanted to do, queen e1, because they can't block you any longer. If the pawn takes you, then you just take this rook. And now, if they block you, you have this rook e1 idea. If the rook takes you, once again, you just checkmate. So, good job, guys. Good job. I know this is a bit tough for a lot of players, especially below 1500s, but you're all welcome here, and this is a great space for you to learn and to see how finding best moves actually works, how we recognize patterns, how we think before we make our moves possible, like here. So good job. Here, black to move. Yes, this is actually a very popular pattern, guys. Backrank checkmate, right? Just rook attacking king with no windows on the king side or the queen side. This is a very familiar, famous puzzle, but we need to recognize the pattern in different situations. Okay, pretty good, guys. Pretty good. So let's wait a little bit longer. Okay. Okay, and I see one move that is not right for sure. It's queen to d1. I mean, queen d1 isn't that just because they can't take you back, right? But it doesn't mean they have to take you. They can just do something else, like, I don't know, maybe take this rook, which is not good for you, right? So either way, you're not forcing them to take you. So yes, there are a lot of things you want to learn, and there are a lot of different patterns here, guys. Put plus in the chat if you like this type of streams, and I'm gonna do more often like streams like that. There are more patterns to recognize with the rook, with any other piece, and with combination of two pieces. So there are a lot of patterns, and if you like it, just let me know and I'm gonna see it, or you can just write a comment like that. Any feedback is important. Okay, a lot of people are writing bishop c3, and well, you are pinning the rook, but rook c1 is leading to checkmate. That was written before, and that is absolutely correct. And after the rook takes you, you have queen d1. And as you can see, this is beautiful. And the rook has to take you because they can't defend the rook. They can't do anything to protect from the backrank checkmate. Actually, the pattern is so beautiful, and once you start to cover a lot of chess patterns, once you realize the importance of knowing how to use every single piece and combinations of pieces, you're just gonna upgrade your chess level even further, trust me. And you're doing great, and you're all welcome here, so good job. All right, so next one. This is a tough one, but I'm sure a lot of you can solve it anyway. White to move. If you're talking about the previous position, by playing h4 or h3, you do create a window, but you don't save your rook. What do you mean by, okay. Okay, I get it. So you haven't written your chess elo. I'm pretty sure it's above 2000, maybe above 2300. Okay. There are two options. Anyone else wants to share their thoughts? Okay, guys, but why? Oh, pretty good. Do you mean online or in like offline chess? Anyway, knight e7 is the idea to remove the rook from the back rank. But hold on, let me just say it first. I mean, how many of you guys would have thought about backrank checkmate in this middle game possession when practically every single file is closed? So this is something about knowing the patterns, solving a lot of puzzles related to the same pattern to be able to find the moves that lead to it in your game, which is very, very, very beautiful in my opinion. So here we have knight e7, fork. The rook has to take you unless they want to lose their queen, but what do you do next? If you do rook d8, this way they could just block, they could just go back and nothing happens. So what do you do? Okay, correct. I see a couple of correct options. And yes, I'm actually 22, not 12. So yeah. And here, right. Now you want to distract one of the defenders from the possibility to block you. Queen f6, you also threaten the checkmate on g7, so as you can see, you have multiple ideas in mind. Like, you kill two birds with one stone, right? And then you go, oh, okay, misclick again. Rook d8. Good job! Pretty good, guys. Okay, so now you solved a lot of puzzles related to seeing the background checkmate in some different positions, even when it was actually very unclear whether or not you could checkmate by, bring your rook to d8. So once you know a pattern like that, you can look for it in your game and you can force some actions to happen so that this position could take place in your game. So you kind of create it knowing the pattern, which is very beautiful in my opinion. And now let's go to the second pattern and let me see if that's working. Hold on. I need to change the pattern. No, 1 second, guys. I'm having a little bit of a technical issue. We're gonna have our pattern changed very soon. Meanwhile, let me know how it's doing. Okay. Okay, perfect. I hope you can see it. The pattern to my right has changed, and now we see that it's not exactly a back rank checkmate, but we're using the edge of the board, like this time a vertical edge of the board to checkmate the black king. Here we're being helped with the black pieces like the pawn and the rook, and while it's a vertical thing, so this is one of the situations that could happen as well. You shouldn't forget that back rank checkmate works even vertically, and we have another pattern like this as well. So let me see. Yeah, I hope you see that it has changed, and we are gonna solve another puzzle. Okay, so here we go. This one is gonna be very easy for many of you, given that you solve some complicated puzzles quite fast. So here we have something simple for you guys, something super simple. Actually, knight g6 would be amazing, but the knight is pinned. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. And as you can see, yes, you want to play knight g6 to distract this pawn to be able to checkmate rook h1, but it's pinned, so the first thing you should do is queen g8. You are distracting the rook from the pin. And now knight g6 check, and rook h1 checkmate. Okay, pretty easy, pretty good, guys. What about this one? This one is gonna be easy as well. So now we changed the pattern a little bit, and our topic maybe have gotten a little bit easier for you. Yes. Okay, I see one person have written a move, has written. Okay, it's actually queen f3, because we're looking at the board from black's perspective. If you play rook g6 first, you kind of give your opponent some time to recover from the situation. Maybe to play something like knight e1 to defend. So it's queen f3 right away. You take the knight, and now your rook checkmates vertically using the file. So good job, guys. Now we have just one more puzzle related to the same think. And if I'm not mistaken, this is Capablanca's puzzle as well. That was played by Capablanca. Black to move. And the situation looks messy, and I think I accidentally put 3 rooks on the board. So let's imagine this rook doesn't exist. Oh no, not this one, this one. So there are 3 rooks, but please don't pay any attention to it, you're gonna win anyway. Okay, someone says rook h1. Any other thoughts, guys? Or maybe you can write the entire line, not just one move, but a couple of moves. Okay, take the knight. I'm gonna take the knight, guys, but what are you gonna do next? What are you doing next? Let's not forget one of the rooks doesn't exist. But even if they do exist, even against 3 rooks, you can checkmate. You see, if you take pawn takes g3, you kinda give your opponent some extra time. Yes, even though it's gonna be a playable possession, but you can checkmate by force. So if you just take on g3 like this, you give them enough time to... Oh, actually they can block this way, right? Because you can do rook h8 this time. Huh, but what can they do? Maybe they could just escape with the king. So actually it's not... What am I talking about? It's not a check... Actually, no, I think it's gonna be complicated anyway. Bishop d4 could work. But yeah, maybe guys, what do you think? Does pawn takes g3 also work? Because it looks like black is gonna be in a very pleasant position, practically by threatening this checkmate. I mean, I don't think they can really defend from that, to be honest. Because if they do like this happens, we have 2 sides to play on, right? So anyway, we're gonna have a winning position. It also works, but I saw the right solution in the chat. Rook takes, knight, king takes, rook c1, check, and after the king goes to h2, you take with the bishop, and after the king goes to a3, rook h1, checkmate. Good job. Alright, now we have another pattern, and this is it, guys. When our pawn is helping us checkmate. So let me see, has it changed? Okay, yes, the pattern has changed. Our own pawn is gonna help us checkmate, and some people call it a wedge. A wedge that is gonna be helping you like a nail. It's gonna stop your opponent's game from coming out. So here's the next puzzle. Black to move. You're doing great, guys. We've been solving puzzles for quite a while already, and you're still here, and I'm very impressed. A lot of you solve puzzles like they're above 2000 ELO, and for many of you, it's even more useful to solve puzzles like that, to see the thought process. So yeah, let's see what you can do in this position. Black to move. Okay, I see one move. Anyone else wants to share the thoughts? Okay, rook e8, guys. We have rook e8 exactly because you can see this pawn here. The king doesn't really have any window, and we want to take this knight on f3, but the queen defends it. So here we go, rook e8, and if they take us, we can checkmate by using our queen. If they don't take us, we're gonna take them and then go rook e1 checkmate, as we discussed before. So good job, pretty good, guys. Okay, next one. What do you do in this position? White to move. Okay, pretty nice. Anyone else has any ideas? Okay. Okay. Good job. So I stopped at this moment because I wanted you guys to see that Rook E8 is not really working. So if you're trying to get to F6 to get to G7, they have Queen F8 protecting everything. So you just lost your chance to checkmate. But if you play Queen F6 first, you have this idea of going to G7, and at the same time, you are distracting the queen to checkmate this way. So good job, yes. Okay, so next one. I like this one, guys. I like this one. Can you find what to do here? Once again, it looks like white has some advantage. They have, a better possession, more active, an open file. But what exactly can you do? What exactly can you do? If you do something wrong, you're gonna blow up your chances. Black is gonna develop, and they have a bishop versus a knight, so maybe you're gonna have some problems here. So, okay, I see a couple of moves. Anyone else? Okay, you see guys, Queen D8 is possible, but once again, you are not forcing them to take you. They don't have to do that, right? I mean, at the very least, I think they could take your knight on H5. But they could also just develop so that now the rooks are gonna be united, and that would be way more complicated for you to use the back rank to checkmate. So let's see. Another thing that you want to consider is Queen f8, right? But that's easy to see that it doesn't really work, because after you check, the king has an escape square. And here where we want to use our pattern. We want to have our pawn on f6, and then someone wrote in the chat, knight f6 check. Good job. So the king is checked and it can run away because you're going to have queen f8 checkmate. They have to take you, and after that you take back, which doesn't look forced. But now you have two threats at the same time. You want to checkmate this way, and you want to take the rook on f8. And they can defend from both things. They can protect both the g7 square, the g file, and the rook. So you are checkmating. For instance, queen g4, take, and rook d8. Very beautiful. Good job, guys. So next one. This is actually very unexpected as well. White to move, and black is the one who's attacking you. So if you find the right idea, you are the one who's winning. And let's not forget our pattern, guys. We have our pawn to help us, our wedge, our nail. Don't forget to look at the pattern to my right. So here, it's either you who's checkmating or your opponent's gonna beat you. What do you think? How do you get this position to be what you want? How do you convert it to the pattern that we're discussing? Rook f6? Interesting, but what are you gonna do next? What's your idea? And okay, at the very least I could take you. Don't I see something? Okay, Pretty good. I see solution. Anyone else has the same thoughts? Good job. Okay, so as you can see, I mean, bishop d6 can be taken by the rook, unfortunately, but that would be good. That would be good if that couldn't be taken by the rook. So here we do this first, saying goodbye to one rook because we have another rook to use the pattern, right? And now we clear the path for this rook to checkmate. Queen e5 check, and after that, no matter what they block us with, we're gonna checkmate. So good job, guys. You're actually nailing it. Very impressive. And this one is actually very tricky in my opinion. So take your time and we're gonna discuss it. And if you just joined, don't forget to make yourself comfortable because all this, puzzle solving process takes up a lot of your mental energy. So hopefully you feel okay. White to move. Actually, black is better and black is gonna win the game because, I mean, they have more material and your king isn't safe if you make a wrong move. But if you find the right combination, you're the one who's winning here. You're the one who's winning. Any ideas? So you see, guys, the first move is pretty easy to understand. It's rook c1 check, and after rook c1 they kind of have to go to b8. But now it's where the questions began. What do you do after rook c1 king b8? How do you check? How do you check the king? How do you continue the attack? And we see our pattern here. The pawn on a6 is controlling b7, like in our pattern. What happened? Oh, thank you. Right. 1 second, let me fix it. Meanwhile, keep thinking on the puzzle. What happened to my camera? Uh-oh. Okay, guys, that's a technical issue. Stay tuned. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Thanks for sticking. So I don't know what happened, but I'm happy to be back. So I see queen b5, but what are you gonna do after king goes to a8? Yes, I'm back. Luckily. So what are you gonna do after king goes to a8? Check on c6. Okay, the king goes back to b8. We have something fascinating here, guys. If you go queen b5, king a8, and you try to detract black from the back rank, it actually doesn't really work, unfortunately. Like, here, if you go bishop f3, I think they could just take you because you can't distract the queen from the back rank. But instead, you have queen b4 check, and that's something you want to foresee before you make a move. You have to choose between queen b5 and queen b4, and queen b4 is right exactly because after king a8, now you can go bishop f3 check, and if the rook takes you, now you have a chance to distract the queen. How can you distract the queen from the back rank now, guys? And we're using the same pattern, right? You see the pattern. Okay, yes, I got you, but there is no checkmate anyway because of that. I think you're gonna be the one who's gonna be attacked. Bishop f3 is not a check when the black king is on b8. That means, do they have b2 check? But here, guys, you have queen e4 check and attack on the rook and the queen. And practically, if they move the king away, then you take the queen. So they have to take you, and yes, as you wrote in the chat, guys, good job, rook c8 checkmate. And once again, you see the same pattern that you see in a small board. This is exactly same pattern. Okay, and what about this one, which is actually so simple but at the same time so hard? I don't know, I feel like a lot of people would have missed it in a game of blitz for sure. Black to move, guys. Black to move. Okay, rook c1 looks nice, but do they have to take you with the rook? They can take you with the king. What do you think? This is actually a very simple one, guys. Simple and hard at the same time. And actually, I think that's even easier than you realize. Because we have the pin on the queen, we can use the pin to our favor. We can checkmate because of this pin. Or at least we gain the queen. Or at least we gain the queen. So what can you do? Yes, correct. Rook d8. After rook d8, I mean, they either take you and they get checkmated by the pattern that you see on the board, or you just get the queen on d3 for free. So good job. Once you realize you have this pin, it gets so easy, but a lot of people think, oh, maybe I could just checkmate somewhere there, and I mean, they overcomplicate things. So yes, we're almost done with the puzzles, guys, and this is one of like the most famous positions related to rook checkmate, in my opinion. This is something to understand and to learn as well. Why to move, and the first move is not hard to find. It's a check, right? It's definitely a check. Whether it's with the rook on g2 or g1, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna place the rook on g2, and of course they can go to h8 because of this checkmate. So they want to go to f8. And what do you do here, guys? What should you do now? Okay, now you do knight to d7, opening this rook, and they have to take you. And how do you finish the game? How do you finish it? This is pretty beautiful. Once again, we know this pattern and we use the idea once again. I know today we solve a lot of puzzles, and I know a lot of you don't want to watch it till the end, and that's completely fine. If you watch it after the stream is over, just like a video, you can pause it at any moment, and when you feel like it, go back. Because solving puzzles for 1 hour straight can be complicated and challenging, but definitely beneficial. You're gonna be able to recognize those patterns better if you play after that, if you play like later on. Yes, now you go rook e8 check, and if the king takes you, rook g8 checkmate. Good job. But if you chose the wrong rook, I mean, unfortunately, the king has, okay, the king has an escape square to h7. And yes, it doesn't work. Unluckily, unfortunately, but you all chose the right way. So congratulations, guys. We have the last pattern to discuss. When the king is being blocked by two pieces, but two pieces that the king has. And now let's see how you can use it. Sometimes, I mean, it's practically the same, like this position is very close to the previous pattern. Sometimes when the king is on the edge of the board, it's enough to be blocked by one piece. In other cases, it could be blocked by two pieces. Either way, you can checkmate. Why to move? Hey guys, I know a lot of you have left and a lot of new people joined, so welcome. We are targeting pattern recognition today. You see the pattern on the right and you can see the solution, I mean the puzzle to solve above my head. So it's actually why to move, and you say rook h4. Okay, actually rook h4, I think it could also be okay, but what are you gonna do next? Are you gonna play queen h6 or are you gonna sacrifice? Yes, actually queen h6 would be way better than rook f4 here. Hold on a second. First of all, after rook f4, I'm worried that I could take it. I could take this, right? And after the king h2, now I have a chance to do something else. Maybe, or maybe I could be completely wrong. Yeah, I could be wrong. What do you think, guys? Can you do here? Oh, you want to sack, okay. But if you sack the rook, like imagine I make any other move like this, and if you sack the rook, you kinda take more time to get here. What do you think? So what to do against rook h4? I think that could also work, to be honest. But it's gonna be a bit more complicated. Maybe I have enough time to block this way. Yes, I think so. What do you think, guys? Maybe I'm wrong? There was queen f6 in that case, yes. There was queen f6. But either way, after queen h6, you want to checkmate this way, and it's way faster. So after rook goes here, queen h7 and rook h4, using the fact that the rook is blocking our king's passage back. So good job. And I mean, this one is a bit more tricky, but so beautiful, guys. You can use the fact, you can force the black king to be blocked by some pieces to checkmate it. Hello. How do you use the pattern that you see to the right? Okay, you see, queen c6 is nice, but what are you gonna do after rook goes to b8? What are you gonna do here? Unfortunately, you want to bring more pieces to the game, so it's better to start with queen a6 with the same idea. They can't take you, and after rook b8, because you didn't block this bishop, you have this move, attacking b7 again, and they can't take your bishop, they can't take your queen, they have to defend. And what do you do now? What do you do now? It is beautiful, I agree. Yes, queen a7, and after the king takes, rook a1, checkmate. Perfect. Good job. Okay, just a couple of more puzzles and we're about to finish, guys. You did an incredible job today, solving all these puzzles related to the rook's ability to checkmate. Let me know if you like it. I have a lot of more puzzles for you related to other pieces and other combinations to aim, to target your pattern recognition improvement. So white to move, what do you do here? Queen b7, the king takes. It has to take you. What do you do next? The entire board is between two rooks. The rooks are located on the edges, in the corners of the board, so the entire action takes place between those two rooks. That was the intention of the name. Okay, so you're saying queen b7, king takes, rook d7. Is that right? Are you checkmating after I move my king away, or if I block with the bishop? I mean, blocking with the bishop doesn't look necessary though. What do you think? So here you have something else. The first move is a check. You force the knight to block you, and now you can do what you wanted to do with using something else. This is a bit more complicated, guys, but with learning to use the patterns that you see in a small board in a position where it's hard to figure out what to do. But yes. Any ideas how to continue this attack? Yes, rook takes d8. If the king takes, then we take the knight and we checkmate on d6. And if the rook takes, now our idea works. And that is actually the intention behind the, like, in this position. If we had a rook on c7 and this square was blocked and this bishop didn't exist, that would be checkmate. And here how we get to this position. We take, and after they take, queen b7, king takes, rook a7, king c8, and then rook c7, checkmate. Very beautiful. And as you can see, this is the exact same position that you see in the pattern, which makes it even more valuable. Like very, very, very good. So as you know, what do you mean? Rook a2 right away? Like here, you mean rook a7, I guess. Well, you are attacking b7 square. That's true. But unfortunately, they can defend it. Yes, all these examples are from real games, and this is why it's important to learn the pattern recognition. The more positions you see, the more ideas you're gonna find in your games. Like here, when you know the small position that you see to the right, you can recognize the same pattern in your game. And if you watch those games, you can learn even more patterns, like sacrificing your rook, like, I don't know, bringing your pieces closer, sacrificing your queen, forcing black king to be surrounded by his own pieces. So yeah, that's how it works, and I hope you enjoyed, guys, because we have just last puzzle before we finish. That works not only in middle games, but also in end games, even in the positions when it looks like that cannot work, but it does. Black to move. You can checkmate the white king using the patterns we learned. using the fact that the white king is kind of blocked by his own pawns. How can you use it to checkmate the king? You can't promote your pawn right away because the rook will take it, unfortunately. But you can use the fact that the king is pretty cramped, if I use the word correctly. What do you do to checkmate the king? Yes, the first move is g4 check, and if the king goes to the second rank, you can just promote opening your rook, right? So they have to go to f4 instead. But what now? What are you gonna do now? Correct, good job. So now if you play g5 right away, you let the king escape and you can't checkmate it anymore. So you want to play rook a5 first to control this rank, and that means you want to play g5. And because you want to checkmate by playing g5, they want to block it, right? They want to block it. What am I? Okay, my brain has got twisted. I thought this pawn. Okay, that was embarrassing. So e5 this way. So it's actually very hard to talk and think at the same time. So I apologize for this e5 move. So what do you do now? And this is so beautiful. Now you go the other way around. Rook a4 check, they have to block e4, and now write your final move. I know you can do it. g5 isn't the final move because the king can escape, right? Or it could escape to e3 as well. Yes, exactly. Now rook a3. And check this out. This is what we started from. The pawns were like this, and this is what we're ending with. Now rook f3 is unavoidable, unescapable, and is a checkmate. Unstoppable. Too many on. So those pawns are like traffic light and it's blocking the king from ever moving, and you kind of forced all those moves to happen. So yes, now rook a3 would be a checkmate with your pawn's help and with the blockage of the king's pathway. So that was the last puzzle for today, guys. Let me know what you think of it. We spent like more than an hour solving chess puzzles, and I want to just clap my hands together for you because I know it's not easy at all. But let me know if you like this format, if you enjoyed this session, and I'm gonna do more sessions like that. We have a lot of more pieces to cover, some more chess patterns to remember and be able to recognize in your games. And if you want to, guys, I could send some games, not games, I could send some more puzzles like this to Discord so that you can just write your solutions there and think as you can consider it your homework. So what do you think of that? You can find the link to our Discord in the description to the channel or in the description to this video as well. So let me know what you think of that. That was honestly very impressive. A lot of puzzles were solved very quickly. Any feedback is welcome, whether you want to have it vertical or horizontal. I'm talking about the stream. Or maybe you thought there were too many puzzles or not enough puzzles. anything, just let me know. But I personally think you all did impressive, and thanks to everyone who joined, whether you joined just for a couple of puzzles or you watched the entire stream. That was incredible. Thank you so much, and I'm going to be waiting for your feedback.